You're watching the Coaches Roundtable on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. Under the spotlight, PIAA Swimming Championships, 3A Boys. 4 years of hard work paid off for Butler's David Bocci as he won a gold medal in the 100 butterfly. He took fifth in the 500 freestyle. Daniel Simoes of Seneca Valley, 3 silver medals, the 100 freestyle, the 200 individual medley, and a member of the 400 freestyle relay, and also a 4th medal as a member of the 200 freestyle relay team that placed 5th. Ben Borvendeg of Butler, 4th in the 50 freestyle. Haihan Zhu of Seneca Valley, 7th in the 100 breaststroke. Sam Deemer of Butler, 8th in the 100 breaststroke. In the team scoring, Seneca Valley took 4th and Butler 5th. Girls 3A, Molly Smyers of North Allegheny, 3 medals. She was 3rd in the 500 freestyle, 2nd in the 200 individual medley, and a member of the 400 freestyle relay team that took 3rd. Perry Gagazis of Seneca Valley, 6th in the 500 freestyle, and also in the 3A girls 200 medley relay, Seneca Valley was 5th, North Allegheny was 8th. Lexi Sundgren of North Allegheny, she took 5th in the 100 freestyle and 6th in the 200 freestyle. Team scoring, the North Allegheny girls, they took home another state championship, placing 1st. And the 2A boys swimming, Alexander Roth of Riverside, Elwood City High School, he was 5th in the 100 freestyle. Joseph Roth, the freshman out of Riverside and Elwood City High School, 2nd in the 100 breaststroke. And the 200 freestyle relay, gold medal for Riverside, they took 1st, the Roth brothers and Sam Klein and Graham Kralik. What an achievement for them. They were swimming, and then their next day they're playing basketball. We'll get to that in a second. Will Resch of Hampton, 3rd in the 200 individual medley. Ethan Apoliski of Hampton, 8th in the 100 breaststroke. The 200-mile relay, Riverside was 2nd and Hampton 3rd. The 400 freestyle relay, Riverside was 3rd. In the team scoring, Riverside was 2nd and Hampton was 3rd. 2A girls, Brittany Carmassi of North Catholic, 5th in the 100 butterfly. Alexis Struckengross of Freeport, she was 11th in the 100 freestyle and the 100 breaststroke. And Bailey Treadle of Montauk, 11th in the 100 backstroke. And in bowling, freshman Kelsey McConnell of Butler, she was 9th in PA State Singles Championship. Mark Livingston of Freeport, he placed 4th. PIAA basketball, top scorers, boys, Chase Bailey of Karn City, he had 26, and Joseph Roth, Elwood City, 22, plus a gold medal there in swimming. His brother Alex Roth combined with him for 14 points. Steve Antuono of Elwood City, 18. All 3 of them will be back next year for the Wolverines basketball team. Nathan Waltman of Karn City had 21. Girls basketball, Alexis Robinson of Rochester, 29 and 17. Corianne Hauser of Rochester, 23 and 19. And congratulations to the Butler cheerleaders. They placed 2nd in the WPIAL championship competition.
Hey, Ed.
Yes.
We're on in the corner of Mohawk, and they're into the state final in girls basketball. We're on a little edge there in Mohawk, so I want to congratulate the girls.
Yes, we're gonna mention them. They're having a terrific year, coached by a Knock High School grad.
Yeah.
Our stories of the week: PIAA boys basketball 6A, Upper St. Clair 63, Erie 57. Upper St. Clair, the Panthers, with only 6 healthy players, no varsity coaches, all because of COVID. They were coached by 20-year-old Tanner Gensler, 2 years removed from playing for the Panthers, and it leads them to victory. He's a volunteer coach. The confidence that Coach Danny Holzer had in him running the team. Next up, Upper St. Clair, 21-1. They take on Reading, 24-2.
Yeah, that might be the story of the year, except for the Ross.
Yeah, the roster. How do you beat that?
Yeah, I can't grasp that ever happening in our 40 years, 120 years between us.
No.
I mean, a 20-year-old.
Tells you how important coaching is.
Right, but I know that all the time.
Yeah.
I
I
say
mean,
that all
let's
the
be
time.
honest, the kid, the
It's a
one guy,
player's game.
the one assistant thought he was doing it. He got there and he said, no, you can't. I don't know if he tested or what.
Right.
So this kid's doing it, 6 players. That wouldn't bother me that much, but now Reading, I think they better bring the full group.
And those 6 players that played, how they comported themselves, a lot of kids might say, I'm not listening to a 20-year-old kid, but he was a volunteer coach. It shows you the kind of respect that he got from those players.
They had, I don't know who played, I like to know that, but they have veterans.
3 of their starters played.
That's said they have three kids that played since 9th grade.
Yeah.
So they're really coaches on the floor. If they play, you don't really need a coach. They know everything that the system is set up for Upper St. Clair.
And in 5A, Erie Prep 52, Newcastle 50 in overtime. The Canes finished 21-3. Sheldon Cox with 18. Just the thing I asked Coach Blundo when I had him on last week about coming out of the gate after you win the WPL championship, how that first game can be so difficult because you're coming down and off that high. You guys well know about that.
Well, they had a 7-point lead, so it wasn't that.
But 2 minutes
But 2
ago.
minutes ago, so it had nothing to do with the letdown.
No.
They just messed up late in the game. So when you give a game away on your home court, that's really that has to be haunting, Ralph. No question.
And a missed layup at the end, and then the putback was there, but it was no time
Right.
was left. Lincoln Park 67, Clearfield 34, and then they ran into a real good Hickory team that put it to them 68-61. How good is Hickory?
Very good. Else worked
I
out.
watched.
A
Just
couple
good.
of guys.
They're just good. Not great. They're not a great team. They had a way better team last year. Last year they had a kid that was just, unbelievable. But
This
the male,
is the year.
But the male kid
Yeah.
is a really good player. Had 38 or 36 last night, and he's a really good player. But this team's always been really good. There's always been somebody better. But this year they stepped it up because of this COVID and got there. How well do you take advantage of this COVID? Upper St. Clair has, Hickory has. That's what happened.
And then you're a team like Sharon, you're looking, you're thinking, when we got to the game, we played on how to.
And Bishop Canterman had their season canceled.
Think about
because
that.
of
That's what I'm
Canada,
Oh,
COVID.
man.
On a last-second layup, Brookville defeated Elwood City 62-60. The Wolverines, what a streak they put together. They were 5-4, had that 9-game winning streak, including their first ever WPL championship. Once again, Joseph Roth with 22, Steve Antuono with 18, and Alexander Roth with 14. All 3 of them return next year. Things are looking really good for the Wolverines next year.
Yeah.
And for Riverside Swimming. So those guys, swimming one day,
That's
a
a good line.
gold medal, and the next day they play basketball. And you think about everything involved, going from swimming practice, basketball practice, traveling here, being ready, hurrying back to get over there to play basketball. Just a great effort by
Hey,
those
Bucknell
kids.
to Elwood's not exactly,
Yeah.
The dedication of their parents. I always, I don't want to leave that out, that the Roth family in Elwood's always been a synonymous name for sports, and they stepped up for this. And they're all coming back. Them and Shadyside will be the 2 favorites next year coming in.
And Joseph Roth, just a freshman.
Yeah, great player. There's an outstanding player.
In 2A, Our Lady of the Sacred Heart 75, Con City 45. The Chargers really put it to Con City in the second quarter with a 15-0 run. Nathan Waltman had 21. Con City finishes 23-3. Next up for Olsh, they take on Portage, but a great year for the Con City basketball team. 23-3 in the district championship.
Yeah, they are at the school we mentioned a lot here on this show for years. Carn City has come up in a lot of sports. They take their sports serious there. They do really well.
I had the Portage game with Kennedy Saturday. Very good team, but not all.
And in girls basketball, 6A, North Allegheny 60, McDowell 30. 4 players in double figures for the Tigers, 11 here, 12 here, 13, so forth. Next up, in the semis, they took on Cumberland Valley and pounded them 66-40. No details on the scoring, so they're in the championship game. And 5A, Char Valley 61, Warren 38. Next up, Char Valley will take on Spring Grove.
Both those teams defend really well, NA and Char Valley, and both of them have college players. You get that combination of college players and defensive prowess, you're going to be your state championship.
And in 4A, Beaver suffered its first loss of the season, 29-28, to finish 20-1, and a tough loss to Villa Maria.
Yeah, Villa is loaded. This is an every-year team for Villa. Beaver, as you say, undefeated, probably one of their better teams. Well, they've been historically good. No one's been as good as Villa historically.
And in 3A, as you mentioned, Mohawk 68, Punxsutawney 52. And then next up, Mohawk defeated Forest Hills in the semifinal game 74-58. So they're on to the championship. And in 2A, Neshannock 51, Winburn 48. And then Neshannock in overtime in the semifinal, they defeated Penns Manor 39-36.
Yeah.
Mohawk, it was supposed to be. Them and North Catholic. It was going to be one of those two teams.
Yes.
And they happened to be North. So congratulations to
Said
Mohawk.
that from the
They got it done. Neshannock's a Cinderella team. No one knew that they were going to do this. I think COVID had a lot to do with their success. But congratulations to Coach Grabowski and Coach Allaire for taking their teams this far.
And then 1A, Rochester 61, Kennedy Catholic 48, Alexis Robinson 17, Corianne Hauser 19. It's as good a backcourt as you're going to find with any girls team.
Yes.
Next up, semis, they take on Bishop Guilfoyle.
Yeah, that'll be a tough game for them. They'll have to play.
Bishop's always been good.
Yeah, their boys are in it too.
So everything's going to end here coming up on the weekend with the championship games, and we'll look forward to seeing the results of those games.
Yeah, in the past.
The season, you have to give the PIAA and the WPL credit for how they've orchestrated and
Yeah.
got this schedule completed at this point. I know some teams were left out, but hey, that's what you have to do with extraordinary circumstances, and they've managed to do that.
Good way to lead in, Andy. That's what that the positive part of this, getting through the season, is something big. And the second part, coming out of the West, a lot of times the East is a favorite coming in. A lot of teams. This year, I think it's wide open. The West has a chance because of the COVID. I think they have a chance.
Well, one of your favorite teams out there in the East are in it again. Math, civics, and science. They're just, take one of those stamps every year and stamp
Yeah,
them.
there's a couple.
They don't even have a gym. They don't have their
there's
own
a
gym.
couple down there that are there every year, and you're looking like Reading. I mean, they're a perennial power. That's not going to be an easy game for St. Clair.
No, they're always there. Our stories of the week. Wow, this one had me asking myself, what's going on? The Steelers signed Juju Smith-Schuster to a 1-year, $8 million contract. $7 million of it is a bonus. $1 million is the salary. And so all this talk about, he said he turned down more money, $4 to $5 million more a year to play with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and with the Ravens. But I haven't heard anything from the Ravens side of the story or the Chiefs. I'm wondering, what's the validity of this story? Is this stuff his agent's putting out there? You turned down a chance to make $4 million more a year to play with maybe arguably the best quarterback in the league and Patrick Mahomes. And then the other thing, he wanted $15 or $16 million a year. When you look, he had 97 receptions for 830 yards, 8.6 average. He was at the bottom of wide receivers in yards receiving per catch. So I don't know. He's a media star. He's always out there putting himself out there. I just think he didn't get what he wanted. He was saying goodbye, and now he's back with the Steelers.
I see it way different, Eddie. I see it that this is a really bad year for free agency. The money's not there. And he realized that he goes to Kansas City. He's probably their fourth receiver. Why would you go someplace to be a fourth receiver? And secondly, Baltimore doesn't throw the ball. So why would you go to Baltimore? I think he made the move for financial reasons, hoping he puts a great year this year. And then big money's coming next year. I think it was a total agent, him talking over and say, we have a chance. Because I don't think he's...
I think he's in the same boat next year, only because this, 8.6 yards. That's the kind of yardage you expect from your running back coming out of the back.
That's why the Steelers play.
On the reception.
I don't think it has anything to do with him. I think if you look at the receivers in the league, Juju Smith-Schuster in the top 20. I mean, there's no question in my mind. It's just that they throw the ball 5 yards every pass.
Well,
that's the way they play.
They go. Well, you want to be a number one receiver? They go by the rankings. He was 129th, something like that, out of.
Well, I didn't say he's number one, but the number two receiver would give him a lot more money.
He used. look, his best years yardage-wise was Antonio Brown was there, who
I
stretched
said
the
he's
field.
number 2 receiver.
But I
Favorite
think
receiver,
it's
yes.
explainable, the cap went down. Next year, the cap's gonna go through the
Right.
roof with that new TV contract, and if he has a good year.
That's his plan,
He
yes.
will benefit. Now, if he doesn't,
Right, and he's not losing anything.
no,
You
no.
know?
Well, so many other things going on with the Steelers. Mike Hilton goes to Cincinnati. They're not going to re-sign Steve Nelson. The money's not there. They either were going to give it to Nelson or to Juju. Linebacker Vince Williams, he's gone. Bud Dupree signs with the Titans, and now linebacker Ola Odeneye, he signs also with the
They
Titans.
said he wanted out. What was his problem? They said he wanted out. What was that?
I don't know.
It seemed unusual
I
because
don't
no
know
one
that.
seems to ever want out of there.
Well, they lost 3 linebackers.
Yeah.
Right there, and defensive tackle Tyson Alula, he's gone back to Jacksonville. Matt Filer to the Chargers. They did sign a wide receiver, Tyler Simmons, who supposedly has a lot of speed, 4.4 speed, but he was on the practice squad for Houston last year. And here's the thing: the Steelers, if we look at comparison, they're $5.9 million under the cap. There's just not much there that they can do. Sooner or later, somewhere down the road, you have to pay the piper. It's going to catch up with
I think
you.
it already has.
Yeah.
I think it already has.
Now, New England, unbelievably, I saw this story, $70 million under the cap. So they signed last week 2 very good tight ends, 2 wide receivers, a defensive tackle, and they got Baltimore's best defensive player, linebacker Matt Judon. And George, what do you say? They have 6 coming back.
7 from COVID.
Including Deontay Hightower, the middle linebacker. And then they go out, they have a good secondary, and they sign another top defensive back in Jalen Mills.
And they won't win unless they get a quarterback.
Yeah, I was
I'm telling you right now.
I was thinking
that's
about
the
that.
same
That
thing I'll
guy's
say all
not a
Well,
winner.
you bring up a very good point. When I was reading, they're loaded with draft picks. They even got 2 additional compensatory picks. They're willing to move up from their 15th position to get a shot at BYU quarterback Zach Wilson, or the quarterback you like from North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's the talk.
The word I got,
They
I've
could
been
trade.
reading a lot, is they are all in on getting Fields. That's the word I'm right
Justin
now.
Fields.
New England,
Is that who they
yes,
want?
that's the one. They jumped off Wilson and jumped off of, and they went, so they may have to go into the 2nd pick or 3rd pick.
They can't think Cam Newton can do it, can they?
They just gave
I mean,
him
if
a
you
one,
watch
a
that
1 year, heavily laden contract. It really is $4 million. It could be 14, but he has to meet all these incentives.
Once again, it's a money thing. They put all their money in all these people you just talked about, so you can't have money for a quarterback. So you try to hope you hit spring gold with the, but neither one of us think Newton's the guy.
No.
No, I'm not a fan of his way. Now, Tampa Bay, they're in cap red, and the Chiefs, to get under the cap, release both starting offensive tackles.
Andy, we could talk about this for 3 hours. The guy who's important in the NFL is the guy in charge of the money. How can you do this? Because you have to give people, if you give Mahomes a contract, you got to get rid of 2 guys. You give this guy, that's the way it works in the NFL.
Listen, I'm not an economics
You don't need
guy.
to be.
It's so complicated, but I know this, somewhere along the line, you get this charge card, you get this one,
Sooner
you got
or
to pay
later.
them off.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Sooner or later.
It's like the Steelers. Roethlisberger made $250 million. At some point.
Sooner or later, caught up with the Steelers.
Yeah, and this thing, he took a $5 million pay, as we said before. The Steelers said, here's your contract, $14 million.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, that's no question about that.
He didn't negotiate anything. But you look at the money there, okay, the National Hockey League, they're elated. They signed a 7-year, $2.8 billion TV deal, $400 million a year.
With whom? ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN. Now,
The NFL?
the NFL just renewed their Sunday night deal with NBC for $1 billion plus a year. That's just for the Sunday
Yeah,
night
they have
games.
four other numbers.
There's nothing like the NFL.
That's why these teams get $100 million, and the cap's going to go up next year. The money there is just unbelievable.
And they're going to
And
fill the stadiums if they can. This idea, at some point it's going to open up and they're going to be ready. And I would expect a ticket price raise.
Yeah,
That's
I
coming
just.
for sure, Ed.
Well, right now Texas is they're at capacity for all their games.
Yeah,
baseball,
ticket prices are going to go to
whatever.
the sky. people who have tickets are gonna be complaining like
Not
crazy.
gonna be as excited as
Because
they
they're gonna
think.
say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What is this, $200 more a ticket? What is going on here? That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, the NFL could do
And
that.
you know the
Some
South
colleges will not be
People are
able to
gonna pay
do
for
that.
They'll pay.
Yeah, they will.
No, the colleges. No, I'll tell you, the college thing is precarious because if those big boys get angry enough and they walk away, D3 is dead.
But some college teams, you don't need to buy season tickets. I mean,
No.
you can go to any Pitt game you want.
Right.
Unless
Right.
it's a Notre Dame or Penn State,
Right,
then
right.
you better have season tickets. But even with Clemson coming in this year, I don't see this as being a game
no.
where you
You'll-
got to hurry up.
you'll
You
get a
could,
ticket, Eddie.
you
You'll
could
get a
walk
ticket.
down, get a ticket, and go and watch the game. National Hockey League, the Pens dropped 3 of their last 4, 2 to the Devils, 2-1 overtime loss on Sunday. The Pens 19-11-2. They're in 3rd place, but the injuries are devastating. Malkin's out, the second-line center. Bluger's out as a third-line center. And now forward Brandon Tanev, he's injured too. Jared McCann trying to step in, fill the void on the second line for Malkin, and Mark Jankowski for Bluger. But they have 24 games left. They can't afford to go too much longer without these guys.
So tough. Up and down, up and down. Just get into the playoffs. That's everybody's goal, get in there.
You know, if you watch a game, you're never surprised anyone gets hurt. The way they fly up and down and get knocked, oh my goodness, that game's brutal.
And they're playing more back-to-back games than they've ever played
Well, that's
before.
new.
Now they have 2 days off, but then they have 2 games coming up back-to-back with Buffalo at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's the way it's set up. And you gotta beat Buffalo. Those are the games you have to get 2 points.
Yeah,
if
they're
you play
must
Buffalo.
wins.
Yeah, well, anyone gives it, and the Devils gave them trouble there for the 2 games. NCAA tournament, talk about out. Michigan State, Ohio State, Illinois, Iowa, Purdue, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, all gone. Loyola Chicago, they knock off the #1 Midwest seed, Illinois. You got to love Sister Jean, 101 years old. She said she prays for both teams before the game, but not as hard for the opponent. I'm impressed. You guys tell me what you think. I'm impressed with Alabama. How about Southern Cal spanking Kansas 85-51? When's the last time Kansas lost like that? And UCLA traveling clear across the country, getting on a bus, then another hour-and-a-half bus drive to play their game, and they're looking pretty good. So you have UCLA, you have Southern Cal, and you still
Oregon
have
State.
Oregon.
And Oregon State.
And Oregon State. And the Big Ten, all their teams except Michigan are gone.
Yeah, the Pac-12 or however you say it, they've been the big winner. Mm-hmm. Because everybody knows, no one talks about that league, and they have come in and just taken it by storm. Congratulations to a league that really is.
And
so
Mick had to
changed.
play his way in. He was behind the whole game. Michigan State was beating UCLA the whole game.
Right.
And everyone keeps waiting for Alabama to fall. Alabama's pretty good. No one, Alabama and Gonzaga, they shoot threes better than anyone.
Yeah, Alabama's #2 seed, so nobody's surprised. I mean, they won the SEC both the regular
I
season.
didn't think they got enough respect.
Yeah,
I
so-
don't think no.
Well, they couldn't be a #1 seed because they were not as good as
They were
Michigan,
bombing them
Baylor,
in
and
last
Gonzaga.
night. Oh,
Well, they were
man, were
hitting
they
them.
bombing them.
Yeah.
You.
Syracuse 75, West Virginia 72. Mountaineers lost 3 of their last 4 games. Boeheim owns West Virginia. He's 22-5 against the Mountaineers. This is his 16th Sweet 16 appearance. So you look at his 40-year coaching career. So every 3 years, he's in a Sweet 16. Whether you like him or not, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But the guy can coach. And when you get down 10 points against that zone, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that zone is spectacular. I call him the master recruiter, that he knows exactly what he wants and looks for those players. He looks for 15 players, picks out 4 of them. They're long, and they can shoot. And he doesn't want anything. If those 2 things are not part of it, he doesn't want you. He can really recruit.
I saw him play at Pitt 2 years ago, and I think their average height, the starting 5, was like 6'8" or 6'9".
Yeah, that we talk about it all the time. That middle area appears open on TV. But when you take the ball in there and 3 guys are above 6'9", it isn't as open.
And his son, Buddy, came through for him, hitting 6 trays in a win over West Virginia.
Yeah, he used the gym that Boeheim built in his house. You heard me say that. In his house came into play because that's where that kid learned to shoot. Every day in his house shooting that basketball. Shooting is the name of the game in basketball. You can do all you want, but the ball goes in the hoop, you look pretty darn
And he's
good.
a 6'8" guard.
Yeah, he's a big kid, tall kid.
Hey, I read about him. he went to prep school in Carolina. I was listening to a game one day, and you know how you turn on the radio and they go, and now for the, and they announced him from North Carolina, and I looked a lot, he had gone to prep school.
Yeah, he had to, because he was not a great
wasn't
player
ready.
coming out,
Yeah.
yes.
So, you know, two things. One, obviously, all the advantages of having a rich dad, but he had to make himself a player.
He has.
Boy, he can shoot.
has.
College football, yeah, college football. Grove City starts off 1-0, 37-14 over St. Vincent. Quarterback Josh S., 325 yards, 4 touchdowns. Running back Zach Trusky, 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. And how many times we've mentioned this kid over the last 3 years. Wide receiver Codi Gustafson caught 6 for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. What an offense Grove City has. And Westminster off 1-0, 42-21 over Bethany. Quarterback Cole Konitska, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. These two will meet up, Westminster at Grove City, April the 9th, Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, both of them could come in undefeated. That's how good both of them are. So that's quite a tribute to both programs, both cultures, what they built there in different ways, but both of them are outstanding teams.
And the spring training's open across the country, and some of our area players, I'm going to mention Jake Cradles, looking to start for the 3rd year at Pitt. And Notre Dame depth chart, look at these area players. They're starting tackles, the left tackle, Andrew Kristofic from Pine Richland, the right tackle, Joshua Lugg from North Allegheny, and guess who the backup tackle is? Michael Carmody from Mars. Great to hear our area players
We always root for that.
doing this.
Yeah, well, that's why we do this show, that hopefully that the kids, we're still saying that over and over, that there's some great kids coming out of this area.
Now, moving on, just looking at the NFL, where we were mentioning, I wanted to add this in. You talked about the money. You know, they lost $4 billion last year in revenue for the season just because of a limited in attendance. 1.2 million attended games. In a normal season, that's 17 million. And so you add up what they're going to do with the ticket prices and why this money's going to come flying in.
Yeah, that part has become part of our sports shows around the country, that you have to mention money. Think about that. We used to talk about batting averages. We used to talk about touchdown passes. Now we have to mention money.
And you know what? When you look at the world of high finance, $4 billion divided by 30, it's a little over $100 million a team, and a lot of those teams are worth $3, $4, $5 billion. They could absorb that for a year. They couldn't back to back.
Yeah, you get $100 million before the season starts.
Yeah.
How about that? Does that take care of it?
That'll take care of some things, right?
That covers a lot of wounds. Hey, we have to mention in passing, boxing great and former middleweight champ, marvelous Marvin Hagler, passed away at the age of 86. Boy, in the 80s, great. Boxing was fabulous, as we talked about before. Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard. What a record he had, 62-3-2, out of the same hometown as Rocky Marciano, Brockton, Massachusetts. After he lost that controversial decision to Sugar Ray, he quit boxing. He was done.
Said, they're going to cheat me, I'm going.
Moved and lived in Italy for a while.
And he did not die of his COVID shot. There were rumors.
No,
his wife
he did
said
not.
Absolutely not.
And finally, the passing of a great NBA Hall of Famer, college basketball Hall of Famer, Elgin Baylor, at the age of 86, 10 times All NBA first team. One of my favorite teams with him, Chamberlain, Jerry West, when they won the 33 straight, went 69-13 and an NBA championship.
That was John Thompson's hero. John Thompson went into basketball because of Elgin Baylor. John Thompson also died this year. They're in heaven talking to each other right
John
now.
Chaney's up there listening.
Yeah, yes.
And that's it for us. We've run out of time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.